Well, exactly when did your own association with the CIA start, and in what fashion? Did they come to you, or did you go to them?
In 1958, when I came home from India, I discussed with student leaders, past and present, many of them active with the National Student Association, this kind of small foundation to encourage Americans to go. They thought it was a good idea, too. I was then told by foundations and professors and friends that I should not do this, that I would get in trouble with the House Un-American Activities Committee, the American Legion, all of those 50s people. And I became convinced that it was impossible. It was at that point that the student leaders said to me that they had in the past received funds for international programs from the CIA, and that they felt that this was important and could also be partly funded by the CIA.
In 1975, a woman named Gloria Steinem graced the cover of Newsweek, hailed as the articulate face of American feminism. What few readers knew at the time, and what only later emerged through declassified documents and probing investigations, was that Steinem had once been quietly funded by a CIA-backed organization during her early activism years. The revelation sparked a firestorm. Was feminism a CIA plot? The truth, as usual, is more complicated and more fascinating. In the thick of the Cold War, the United States wasn't just fighting battles with tanks or proxy armies. It was waging a global war of ideas. The Soviet Union promoted itself as a champion of equality, often pointing to American racial injustice and gender inequality as proof that capitalism was inherently oppressive. In response, the U.S. government, including its most secretive agencies, turned to cultural diplomacy. That meant showcasing American democracy not just with flags and speeches, but by funding art, jazz, literature, academic conferences, and yes, even progressive movements. One such effort was the Congress for Cultural Freedom, an organization later revealed to have received covert CIA backing. It sponsored everything from magazines like Encounter to international feminist conferences. Gloria Steinem, then a young journalist and activist, helped organize one such CIA-sponsored event in the 1950s, the Independent Research Service, which sent American students to World Youth Festivals, countering Soviet narratives. Steinem would later acknowledge the CIA's role, but downplayed its influence on her political beliefs, claiming she saw no contradiction between her ideals and the funding source. Let's be clear, the women's liberation movement didn't begin in a CIA boardroom. Its roots go back centuries, to Mary Wollstonecraft, Sojourner Truth, Susan B. Anthony, Simone de Beauvoir. The modern movement of the 1960s and 70s emerged organically from civil rights struggles, university campuses, labor activism, and kitchen table frustrations. But the movement's visibility, especially in international spaces, was at times bolstered by U.S. intelligence interests. The CIA wasn't trying to liberate women. It was trying to win the Cold War. Promoting feminist ideals, especially abroad, was a strategic counter to Soviet propaganda. If that meant secretly funding feminist voices that didn't toe the communist line, so be it. In this light, feminism wasn't manipulated, it was leveraged. The entanglement of political ideals with covert operations raises unsettling questions. Can a movement remain authentic if it's funded by a shadowy institution? What happens when radical voices are amplified not for their truth, but for their utility? For some critics, especially those on the left, this history reveals how grassroots movements can be subtly co-opted. If intelligence agencies can influence feminism, what else might they have shaped? Civil rights, art, LGBTQ+ movements? Others argue the opposite, that social movements are resilient, adaptive, and not so easily controlled. The CIA may have backed early feminist efforts for its own ends, but the resulting movement soon grew far beyond anything Langley could contain. Internet corners have twisted these facts into a blunt conspiracy. The CIA invented feminism to destroy families and control society. This narrative often emerges from misogynistic or reactionary sources, not serious historians. The actual story is less tidy but more revealing. The CIA saw feminism as a tool, not a weapon, and like many powerful institutions, it was eager to shape culture, not just policy. What should concern us today isn't whether the CIA invented feminism, it didn't, but how power operates in the shadows, how ideologies are marketed, and how narratives are shaped not just by those who speak, but those who fund the speaker. Feminism wasn't born in a spy agency, but the world of covert politics did, at times, intersect with the fight for gender equality. That tension between authentic progress and hidden influence remains one of the most important and unresolved dynamics in modern social movements.